Well, hi everyone, and welcome to the Infinity Futures Daily Trading video. My name is Raleigh White, and I'm here to talk to you about the trades we took in our live trading room on Monday, December 1st, 2014. We're looking at today's economic calendar. You can see there were several things that we needed to be aware of today. At 8:45, we had the release of the final manufacturing PMI data, which came out a bit lower than expected at 50.1 versus 50.4. Then at 9 o'clock, we had the official ISM manufacturing PMI report coming out, which was higher with a value of 58.7 versus an estimate of 57.9. Then at 11:15, we had FOMC member Dudley speaking from New York, and at noon, we had FOMC member Fisher speaking from New York. Now, as far as today's pre-market sentiment was concerned, things were fairly negative coming into the open. Now, the Asian markets had closed mostly lower on falling oil prices. Last week's decision by OPEC not to cut back on oil production had sent crude oil prices down to 5-year lows. As a result, we saw that the worst performing market in Asia was Australia, which closed down a full 2 percentage points on the depreciating Australian dollar against the U.S. dollar and on declining oil and gold prices. On the flip side, though, the Japanese Nikkei was up 0.7 of a point, trading near 7-year highs, on news that corporate capex was up 5.5% on an annual basis over the prior year. As far as the European markets were concerned, they were open but trending lower as commodity prices were continuing to slide. Now, the energy and mining sectors were leading the markets lower on falling oil and metals pricing. We also saw that the Eurozone manufacturing PMI came in worse than expected with a value of 50.1 versus an estimate of 50.4. Primary reason for this was that Europe's 3 largest economies, being Germany, France, and Italy, were showing contraction in their manufacturing activities in October over the prior month in September. As far as the United States is concerned, Wall Street figured to open up lower on falling commodity prices. Now, the futures were pointing down coming into the open following the global markets lower and on the falling oil and metals pricing. Sentiment was also being weighed by Moody's, which had downgraded Japan's credit rating on concerns over the growing deficit in Japan and concerns that their plans to cut that deficit may not be effective enough. Focus for many U.S. investors would be on today's manufacturing PMI data, which is due out at 9 o'clock, and then at the speeches from FOMC members Dudley and Fisher around noon. Now, as far as my trading activities were concerned, there were not that many attempts that I saw, although I saw 3 entry opportunities, but unfortunately I wasn't filled on any of these in the markets that I trade, but I would like to share with you the setups that I saw. But before I do that, I do need to remind everyone of this following important disclaimer, and that is that trading futures involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources, as you may lose all or more of your initial investment. And always remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Well, turning to the charts, let's begin here with the E-mini S&P 500, and we can see coming right into the open of the U.S. trading session and prior to the release of the final PMI report here, we had 4 bars moving higher, followed by 1 bar retracing, and I was hoping this second bar here was going to retrace and give me a 2-bar pullback fill to go long at 20.56 3/4, but the market never really came to me, moved away from me, and I had to take this trade out of the market. The next market that gave me an opportunity was the gold market. Now, looking at the gold market, we can see here prior to the release of the final PMI data, these reports were coming out at 8:45 and 9 o'clock, we can see that gold was moving sharply higher, and I saw 5 bars moving higher, followed by 1 bar retracing, and I was hoping this second bar here was going to retrace and give me a fill at 1183.8 and give me a nice 10-tick win, but the market never really took a step in my direction, continued to move higher into and through the previous day's high, so I had to take this trade out of the market. I then turned my attention to the 6E market, the Euro FX futures, and this was towards the end of the trading session. You can see that we had two bars moving lower, followed by one bar retracing, and I was hoping this second bar was going to retrace up here and give me a short entry at 124.90. And we can see the market, this bar opened up, never came to me, fell away from me here at this point in time, and so I had to take that trade out of the market. So during the trading session between 8:30 and 10:30, I had 3 attempts but no fills in the markets, but I did come back into the markets after the lunch period was over between 12:30 and 1:30, and I did see an opportunity I'd like to share with you in crude oil. This area that's shaded in the back here begins at 12:30 and moves through the 1:30 period, and we are looking at crude oil, the point and figure chart for crude oil. Now, we had established right here a minor area of resistance right here at 68.72, and you can see it was established. It was tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Prices coming up into this area, and when prices started to come up here again, I was a little concerned about this level because I figured it was tested so many times that the market would probably push through this level. Well, you can see the market came up here and turned right around, so this was an opportunity that I missed to fade the market. But then as prices came around higher here at 68.80 and then turned around and then moved right back up into this level, this would be the first test of this new area of minor resistance. So I was sitting here short at 68.80, risking 10 ticks to make 5 ticks on this trade, and I got filled, and in literally under 5 seconds I was out with a 5-tick profit. When the market moved 5 ticks in my direction, my stop loss did move to break even. In the event I wasn't filled at my profit target and the market moved against me, the worst that could happen is that I would get out here at break even. So when the day's all said and done, I had 4 attempts in the market and 1 fill. That fill was in crude oil after lunch, and I was up $50 per contract traded, and looking forward to seeing what kind of opportunities might present themselves tomorrow. Well, looking at tomorrow's economic calendar, you can see there are a few things we need to be aware of, but it's a relatively light day for scheduled news and events. At 7:10 in the morning, we have FOMC member Fisher speaking from a symposium in Washington, D.C. Then at 7:30, we have Fed Chair Yellen speaking also from Washington, D.C. Then at 9 o'clock, we have construction spending data being released. And throughout the day, we're going to get information on total North American vehicle sales from the various automotive companies. So once again, tomorrow there are a few key things we need to pay attention to, but a relatively light day ahead of all the employment data, which is scheduled to come out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And so with that, thank you so much for watching today's daily video. I wish you a pleasant evening, and I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow.